Hello, my friend. Today is the next monster in the game, Monster Hunter Wilds. This time, it will be a stone-like lizard that dives into the sand and climbs rocks. This is the Balahara. Today we will talk about what to expect from this giant and how to deal with it. Balahara is a supple, serpentine leviathan with a body shape similar to Agnactor and Legiophrus. Its body is covered in small, brownish-grey scales that grow larger and sharper on its sides. It has 4 short legs and a long drill-like tail. The Balahara's most distinguishing feature is the unique shape of its head. Its tripartite jaws bear 3 tongues, and both its upper and lower jaws are covered in large amounts of saw-blade-like teeth. The inside of its mouth emits a faint blue glow, and it has multiple pairs of tiny scallop-like eyes lining its jaws. Balahara is a desert-dwelling leviathan that can deftly swim through the sand by using its tail like a drill. It creates quicksand traps to catch prey, a behavior that seems to be based on the hunting tactic of antlions. Balahara can also work together in packs of 3 members to overwhelm larger monsters, such as Doshaguma, as shown in their turf war. It is also shown to be capable of clinging to walls and pillars and can spit a mud-like glob or stream of mud from its mouth. Balahara is susceptible to thunder elements, and the weakest points are its mouth, tail, head. Paralysis is a major problem in Balahara. Paralysis can be caused by items in your home or items in nature. On the Balahara, pitfall traps and shock traps, as well as flash pods or sonic bombs can be used. Sonic bombs and screamer pods are particularly helpful when the Balahara has been submerged into sand. After Balahara expels its mucus, attack Balahara's mouth. Balahara's weakest point is the mouth. However, you can only get a chance to do so after Balahara uses its mucus sprinkling attack. You need to time this attack perfectly. Nulberries will dispel any Waterblight effect that Balahara may inflict on you with their mucus attacks. Waterblight can be removed by rolling repeatedly. Use your grapple to lower the stone pillar and bring the Balahara down so that it is at your level. This will temporarily disable it. Use your most powerful attacks to knock down Balahara when it is unable to attack. If you are fighting Balahara in sand, beware quicksand pits that may form. If you want to defeat Balahara, you need to focus your attacks on its 3 weak points. Use thunder elements when you can. Balahara has 3 vulnerable points: head, mouth, and tail. The mouth of the Balahara is its weakest point, while its head can be broken and its tail is easily severable. Balahara can be dealt with quickly by using thunder-infused attacks on its weak spots. It's difficult to damage Balahara at its weakest part, the mouth, because you must wait until Balahara uses its mucus attack to reveal it. You should get into position as Balahara is preparing to use its mucus spray attack, so that you can quickly attack the mouth of Balahara away from mucus path. Balahara's underground lunge and mucus are the main attacks to be avoided. Balahara attacks with mucus almost constantly, while its underground lunge attack only happens later on in the game, as Balahara begins to burrow. Waterblight is the status effect you get when Balahara mucus hits your character. It reduces stamina regeneration. You can roll or use Nulberries to remove Waterblight if you are hit by Balahara's mucus. Balahara's underground lunge can be annoying and even deadly. We recommend that you use a sonic bomb or a screamer pod when Balahara burrows in order to harm it and bring it to the surface. Balahara also uses a head lunge, a head swipe, and a tail swipe. Balahara will always swipe at you if it is around its tail. It can either be a quick swipe or one that Balahara does first. If you notice the tail is moving, move quickly out of its way. Remember that Balahara, if you are fighting it on the sand, can form pits of quicksand. If this occurs, run as fast as possible away from the shimmering sand to avoid falling into it. After the change of location, it was a real discovery for me that Balahara was able to climb up on a stone ledge and spit from there. At first, I just watched what was happening. Later, I realized that it was time to take my feet and run. At such a long distance, it is impossible to shoot Balahara, so the only thing left to do is to dodge its attacks. In general, I can say that the monster is quite difficult. All of its attacks don't do much damage, but they happen very often. So if you don't dodge them, you'll get a lot of damage, and the fight can end in your defeat. With a certain amount of skill, you may not need my tips that I mentioned earlier. Despite the fact that Balahara is a pretty serious opponent, he can be defeated without any reinforcements. Of course, the better armor and weapons you have, the easier the fight will be. I'm not even talking about the presence of mega potions that greatly restore health. It's a must-have. Sometimes it's not always possible to bounce to the side, or you don't calculate the time of the attack and get exposed. Then you need to have a backup plan. While your partner, the war cat, distracts the monster, you move away and heal. It is important not to stand still, but to keep moving. The more you move, the harder it is for the monster to hit you. Despite the monster's weaknesses regarding its mouth, I still try to be on the monster's side for most of the fight. As I've noticed, most monsters in the game don't attack sideways. They quickly maneuver and change their position. It takes some getting used to, but in general, the safest place is on the side of any monster. Yes, from this point there are fewer vulnerabilities for attack. But over the course of the fight, many wounds appear on the monster's body, and they are where you most often get hit. Therefore, starting from the halfway point of the fight, I try to use the scope to continue shooting Balahara's wounds that occur as a result of my attack. I think this is enough to defeat Balahara. Let me remind you that you have plenty of time to make yourself a victory. Even if your health bar drops to 0, you will recover in the village. The monster will be at the same stage of destruction. You will just lose some time to get to the battlefield. But you can quickly replenish supplies, even change weapons and clothes, and finish off the enemy. It's part of the game, so I don't think it's wrong. The main thing is to keep within the allotted time. I highly recommend that the first part of the battle is less about trying to do damage and more about learning the attacks that Balahara performs. This way you'll quickly realize when you should dodge and how to do it correctly. Is it enough to just step aside, or do you need to run away for a long distance? This understanding comes only with experience. So the main thing is not to be afraid of the enemy. Explore it, and you will definitely win. It's an unrealistically pleasant feeling when the enemy falls and the countdown to the end of the quest begins. That's why we love this game, for the feeling of victory we get every time. If you like the game Monster Hunter Wilds and want to see more interesting videos of this game, subscribe to my channel. Also, like the video and I'll prepare a video of the next monster I meet in the game for you. If you have any questions about the game, leave a comment. We have a fairly well-developed community that will help you sort out the difficulties. I also recommend watching my previous video where I showed how I defeated Congalala. See you in Monster Hunter Wilds, my friend. There are still many different and interesting monsters ahead.